In the quiet hours, when the world has gone still and noise of the day fades away, there exists a moment of truth, a sacred time when the mind becomes open, unguarded, and deeply receptive. It is in these hours between wakefulness and rest that the seeds of wisdom find the most fertile soil. Every day our minds are flooded with distractions, voices, opinions, demands. But when the night comes, silence takes its rightful place as teacher. And in that silence we begin to hear the subtle messages of truth that the noise of daylight hides. It is here that the mind begins to shape the person we are becoming. What you allow to fill your thoughts before sleep becomes the foundation of your next day. The ideas that echo in the darkness will rise with you in the morning. Feed your mind wisely. Nourish it with the words that inspire strength, purpose, and calm. Because the mind does not rest as the body does. It continues to work, to build, to create from the raw material you provided. Every man and woman is the architect of their own destiny. The thoughts you hold before you close your eyes are the blueprints of the world you will awaken to. If those thoughts are filled with gratitude, peace, and purpose, then you will rise with direction. But if they are filled with worry, fear, and doubt, the dawn will bring only confusion and unrest. In the stillness of the night, you can begin to reprogram your life, not through effort, but through attention. You can decide what kind of person you wish to be and begin gently to think in harmony with that vision. Repetition of noble ideas before sleep carves pathways in the mind that no circumstance can erase. So tonight, as you close your eyes, choose your thoughts as carefully as an artist selects his colors. Paint your future in the tones of faith, wisdom, and calm assurance. The mind that sleeps on noble ideas awakens to a noble life. The quiet hours of the night are not wasted. They are the workshop of greatness. In the quiet hours, when the noise of the world fades into the background and the last light of day retreats into shadow, the mind begins to settle. It is in these moments that truth reveals itself in ways the noise of life cannot allow. The mind, finally free from distraction, becomes open, curious, receptive. What we think about during these sacred hours shapes who we are becoming. The thoughts that occupy the mind before sleep do not disappear with the closing of the eyes. They linger, they work silently, building the framework of the next day. Every idea, every reflection, every emotion left unresolved finds a place in the subconscious, influencing choices, behavior, and mood long after we've drifted into rest. The night offers a unique opportunity for transformation. When we listen to words of wisdom as we fall asleep, we invite those ideas to take root deep within the soil of our minds. The body may rest, but the mind continues its ceaseless work. Organizing, processing, constructing. It listens even in sleep. And what it hears repeatedly, it begins to believe. The quiet repetition of truth, of encouragement, of purpose, begins to erase the clutter of negativity accumulated during the day. It replaces fear with calm, confusion with direction, and doubt with assurance. The man or woman who learns to master the quiet hours learns to master the mind itself. Every thought carries a vibration, and those vibrations set in motion the creative forces that determine the quality of our lives. When you fill your final waking moments with gratitude, purpose, and noble ideals, you are setting your mind to create a life that reflects those same qualities. But when you end your day in worry, resentment, or self-doubt, your subconscious will continue to weave those same threads into the fabric of your experience. The night does not erase the day, it extends it. It magnifies what you allow to rest within you. That is why what you think, what you read, what you hear before sleep holds such tremendous power. In the stillness of the night, you can begin to reprogram your thoughts with intention. You can decide what kind of person you wish to become and begin aligning your mind with that image. The secret lies in consistency, listening to ideas that strengthen your character, deepen your understanding, and remind you of the power within. Over time, these ideas become a part of your natural thinking, influencing your reactions, your choices, your very sense of self. The process is subtle but profound. You will begin to notice a calm confidence replacing the noise of fear, a quiet certainty taking the place of confusion. The outer world responds to this inner change. The mind is a garden and sleep is its season of planting. The words and thoughts you dwell upon are the seeds. Each night you choose which kind to sow, those of growth, peace, and faith, or those of limitation, worry, and doubt. The harvest always reflects the planting. The quiet hours before sleep are not wasted time. They are the most valuable part of the day. They are the hours in which you speak directly to the creative intelligence that governs your life. By choosing thoughts of wisdom and calm, you are giving yourself the gift of alignment with the natural laws of success and serenity. It is not effort, but awareness that changes everything. Awareness of what you are feeding your mind. Awareness of the quiet influence of repetition. Awareness that even in rest, the mind listens, learns, and creates. The person who understands this no longer drifts through life by chance. They begin to design it consciously, using each night as an opportunity to reinforce the truths that lead to peace and fulfillment. What begins as a simple habit of listening becomes a silent partnership with the deeper intelligence that guides all creation. The night is no longer a time of escape from the world. It becomes the secret workshop where your future is built thought by thought, idea by idea, quietly, while the world sleeps. The mind is a remarkable instrument capable of creating worlds from the thoughts we feed it. Every invention, every breakthrough, every transformation begins not in action, but in the quiet formation of an idea. The thoughts we hold, especially in the still moments when the world is silent, are the architects of our destiny. Yet few understand the quiet power that lies within their own thinking. They believe change requires struggle, when in truth, it requires direction. The mind will always move toward the images and ideas it is most consistently exposed to. If those images are noble, confident, and filled with purpose, life begins to reflect them naturally. When the body is at rest, the mind is most receptive. During the night, it listens closely, gathering impressions, weaving them into the patterns that form the next day's behavior. This is why it is so essential to choose carefully what you allow to occupy your mind before sleep. The ideas you entertain become the material from which your thoughts are built. A person who spends their final waking moments in anxiety trains the mind to create more of it. But one who ends the day with calm reflection and purposeful thought gives the mind something better to build upon. Each night offers an opportunity to reset, to feed the subconscious with ideas that strengthen rather than weaken the spirit. The human mind cannot remain empty. It must think, and it will think of something. If we do not direct it consciously, it will wander aimlessly, gathering whatever thoughts are easiest to find, usually those born of fear, habit, or limitation. To take control of one's thoughts is to take control of one's life. This is not done through force, but through repetition and awareness. Repetition shapes belief. When you repeatedly feed the mind with ideas of wisdom, courage, and success, it begins to accept them as truth. Once accepted, they manifest effortlessly in action. The person who learns to think wisely no longer reacts to life. They respond to it with purpose. The great law of the mind is simple. Whatever you think about, you move toward. A person who constantly dwells on problems becomes an expert in finding more of them. A person who focuses on opportunity becomes skilled at seeing what others overlook. The difference lies not in external conditions, but in inner awareness. Every experience in life is filtered through the lens of thought. Two people can stand before the same challenge. One sees defeat, the other sees potential. The event does not define the outcome. The mindset does. This understanding turns ordinary people into extraordinary ones. Nighttime reflection is the most powerful time to direct the mind toward growth. In the quiet, without distraction, ideas sink deeply. The words you hear and the thoughts you hold echo within, influencing the unseen workings of the subconscious. The subconscious does not argue. It accepts whatever it is given. If it is fed with faith, gratitude, and vision, it begins to arrange circumstances to match that belief. If it is filled with doubt and fear, it creates barriers that confirm those feelings. This is the silent law that governs success and failure alike. The difference between those who rise and those who remain still lies in how they use the invisible hours. To feed the mind with wisdom is to plant the seeds of a better tomorrow. These seeds may not sprout overnight, but they will grow with consistency and care. Over time, they shape character, influence decision, and alter the course of destiny. The individual who understands this principle becomes a conscious creator of their own life. They stop waiting for luck or circumstance and begin building from within. Each night, as they listen, reflect, or simply think in harmony with noble ideas, they are reshaping the very foundation of who they are. The quiet repetition of truth becomes the bridge between who they are and who they can become. The hours before sleep are not a time to escape from life. They are a time to prepare for it. The greatest discoveries in life often come not through noise or movement, but through stillness. In that stillness, the mind reveals what it has been trying to say all along. When we slow down enough to listen, we begin to see that every problem carries within it the seed of its own solution. The challenge for most people is not a lack of intelligence or opportunity, but a lack of quiet attention. The world is loud, and in its noise the whispers of wisdom go unheard. To think clearly, one must first learn to be still. The calm mind is the most powerful instrument a person can possess, because it is the only mind capable of perceiving truth without distortion. The night, with its silence and peace, provides the perfect environment for this kind of reflection. The distractions that clutter our thoughts during the day fall away, and we are left alone with our inner world. It is in this state that true growth begins. The thoughts you choose to entertain during these quiet hours form the blueprint for your actions when the sun rises again. What the conscious mind accepts, the subconscious mind begins to build. This is not theory. It is the way human nature operates. The subconscious mind never sleeps. It listens records and obeys. It takes in everything we feed it. whether by deliberate focus or careless habit, and it brings those ideas to life through behavior, feeling, and circumstance. When we fill our minds with thoughts of wisdom before sleep, we give the subconscious something valuable to work with. It begins to organize those ideas, to weave them into the very structure of our personality. Over time, the person who consistently listens to noble thoughts, who reflects on truth before rest, begins to live by those principles without effort. They find peace where others find tension, clarity where others find confusion, and confidence where others feel fear. This quiet conditioning of the mind is one of the most powerful tools available to us, and yet so few use it consciously. Most people go to sleep with the same thoughts that troubled them all day: worries, regrets, and unfinished conversations. The mind carries these forward, replaying them again and again until they become habits of thought. Those habits eventually shape a person's outlook, and that outlook shapes their life. But by changing what we feed the mind at the end of the day, we begin to change the pattern itself. Listening to or reflecting upon ideas of strength, discipline, and calm replaces negative repetition with constructive imagination. The subconscious then begins to create order where there was confusion, and purpose where there was aimlessness. Thought is the original cause of everything we experience. Every achievement, every failure, every discovery began first as a single idea, held long enough and clearly enough for it to take form. The thoughts we allow to dominate our minds become the architects of our future. If those thoughts are grounded in truth, gratitude, and purpose, then the structure they build will be strong and enduring. But if they are built on fear, doubt, or resentment, they will crumble under the weight of their own weakness. The mind works according to the material it is given. It cannot produce peace from chaos or success from negativity. It creates faithfully from the pattern it receives. The quiet hours before sleep offer a chance to shape that pattern deliberately. They allow you to clear away the mental noise accumulated throughout the day and replace it with ideas that strengthen your spirit. This simple practice, done with sincerity and consistency, becomes a silent revolution within. The outer world, though unchanged at first, slowly bends to match the new order of your inner world. Circumstances align, opportunities appear, and what once seemed impossible begins to unfold naturally. It all begins in thought, nurtured by stillness and sustained by belief. The quiet mind, fed with the right ideas, becomes the greatest ally in building a life of purpose and peace. There is a hidden power that moves quietly beneath the surface of every life, a power that few ever learn to harness because it cannot be seen or touched. It is the power of consistent thought. The direction of a person's life is not determined by sudden bursts of inspiration or random acts of luck, but by the steady, repeated influence of what the mind believes to be true. Every day, the thoughts you return to, those quiet patterns that play in the background of your awareness, are forming your reality piece by piece. The laws of the mind are constant. You cannot plant one kind of thought and expect to harvest another. Just as the farmer cannot sow thorns and reap fruit, you cannot fill your mind with doubt and expect confidence to appear. Each night, as you drift toward sleep, the thoughts that linger in your mind settle deep into the subconscious. They are not lost. They are stored, nurtured, and multiplied. The subconscious mind is a perfect mirror of what it receives. It does not question. It does not reason. It does not decide. It simply accepts. It accepts every word, every image, every belief you impress upon it, and then it works tirelessly to bring that impression into reality. This is why the moments before sleep hold such great significance. They are the gateway between the conscious and the subconscious, the point where what you think becomes what you live. The repetition of noble ideas is one of the most powerful tools for shaping the subconscious. A single thought, heard or spoken once, may be forgotten, but a thought repeated, reflected upon, and felt deeply becomes part of the very structure of your thinking. It begins to operate automatically, guiding decisions and shaping reactions without effort. This is the essence of mental conditioning. When you fill your mind consistently with wisdom, discipline, and vision, you are not merely learning, you are becoming. The ideas you dwell upon become part of you, and you begin to act in harmony with them. People often underestimate the subtlety of this process. They look for immediate results, failing to see that the real transformation is happening quietly, beneath awareness. Just as water shapes stone through years of steady flow, repetition shapes character through persistent thought. You do not notice the change from day to day, but one morning you awaken and realize that you think differently, that you respond differently, that you are no longer ruled by the same limitations. The mind, trained through repetition, begins to function at a higher level. What once seemed difficult becomes natural. What once felt uncertain becomes clear. This quiet transformation is available to anyone who chooses to direct their thinking with purpose. You do not need special knowledge or great resources. You need only awareness of what occupies your mind and the willingness to replace what weakens you with what strengthens you. Every night is a chance to renew this process. As you prepare for rest, you can choose thoughts of peace over worry, of gratitude over complaint, of faith over fear. In doing so, you are rewriting the program that governs your waking life. The subconscious accepts these new ideas and begins to build circumstances that match them. It draws people, events, and opportunities into alignment with the mental image you hold most consistently. Repetition builds power because it creates belief, and belief is the foundation of all creation. Once you truly believe something, you act in accordance with it without hesitation. The body, the emotions, and the environment all begin to follow the direction set by belief. The person who understands this principle stops searching for quick fixes or external validation. They turn inward, knowing that lasting change begins within. By filling the mind repeatedly with truth and purpose, they build a foundation that cannot be shaken by temporary setbacks. The world outside may shift, but the inner world remains steady, guided by the quiet strength of well-trained thought. Silence is not emptiness, it is presence. Within silence lies the purest form of awareness, untouched by noise, untouched by distraction. It is in silence that truth reveals itself. The greatest thinkers, creators, and leaders have all known the value of stepping away from the noise to listen inwardly. In silence, the mind regains its natural order. Thoughts slow, emotions settle, and clarity begins to rise from within. The world teaches us to react, to speak, to fill every space with sound, but wisdom teaches us to pause. The one who has learned the power of silence no longer fears stillness, for they know it is the source of all strength. When we speak less, we begin to hear more, not just the sounds around us, but the voice within. That voice has always been there, quietly guiding, gently suggesting, waiting to be heard beneath the clutter of constant noise. The problem is not that we cannot hear it, it is that we rarely stop long enough to listen. The silence of the night is nature's invitation to reconnect with that inner voice. When the world quiets, when the hum of activity fades, the mind becomes open. It is in that openness that understanding begins to take shape. Every person carries within them an untapped reservoir of wisdom. It does not come from books or teachers alone. It comes from experience, reflection, and deep listening. The mind, when still, has the ability to reveal solutions that no amount of analysis could produce. Ideas that seemed impossible hours earlier begin to organize themselves effortlessly in moments of quiet. That is the miracle of silence. It connects the conscious mind with a deeper intelligence that is always available but seldom accessed. The quiet thinker draws upon this intelligence naturally, while the restless one chases answers that never seem to arrive. To master silence is to master energy. Every word we speak expends energy. Every reaction consumes focus. Every noise we entertain weakens attention. The silent person conserves power, not out of restraint, but out of understanding. They know that speech has value only when it carries thought behind it. They choose their words as carefully as a craftsman chooses his tools. They do not waste expression on proving their worth, because they have already found it within. This calm restraint gives their words more weight when they do speak, for silence has sharpened their awareness and purified their intention. Silence is also the training ground for discipline. To be still when others rush, to listen when others interrupt, to observe when others react, these are signs of mastery. The ability to remain calm in noise, to hold one's peace amid confusion, is not weakness but wisdom. It means the mind has risen above the need for constant validation. It means the person has learned to trust their own judgment. The silent mind sees clearly because it is not clouded by the impulse to respond. It watches, understands, and then acts from certainty rather than emotion. At night, when silence surrounds us, we are given the chance to return to this inner stillness. We can reflect without pressure, think without interruption, and restore the balance lost in the chaos of the day. The thoughts entertained during this time have a power that daytime thinking does not. They are absorbed more deeply, felt more strongly, remembered more clearly. In silence, thoughts become alive, vibrant, creative. The person who learns to use this time wisely gains control over their inner world. They no longer depend on external conditions to find peace, for they carry peace within them. The mastery of silence does not mean the absence of sound, it means the absence of disturbance. A person can sit in a noisy world and still remain untouched, still centered, because their peace does not come from outside. It comes from the quiet certainty that life is governed by order, that wisdom speaks through stillness, and that truth is always waiting for those who will listen long enough to hear it. Every thought carries within it a force, and that force is the beginning of all creation. The way a person thinks determines not only what they do, but who they become. The difference between those who succeed and those who drift lies in the quality of their dominant thoughts. Thought is the invisible sculptor of destiny, shaping actions, attitudes, and outcomes long before anything appears in the physical world. When a person learns to discipline their thinking, to direct it with purpose rather than habit, they unlock a power far greater than circumstance. Nothing in life happens by accident. It is always preceded by thought, whether conscious or unconscious. Most people move through life reacting to conditions, believing their environment shapes them, unaware that their environment is merely a reflection of their inner state. The person who expects disappointment attracts it, while the one who holds a vision of success invites opportunity. This is not wishful thinking. It is the natural law of cause and effect operating in the realm of the mind. The thoughts you dwell upon most frequently create the patterns your life will follow. Every result, whether of prosperity or failure, begins as a seed planted in the soil of the subconscious. The question is not whether the seed will grow, but what kind of seed has been planted. Each night, as the conscious mind begins to rest, the subconscious opens fully to receive instruction. It listens without question and acts upon what it receives. That is why the hours before sleep are among the most powerful moments of every day. When you fill your mind with thoughts of confidence, peace, and direction, you are giving the subconscious an image to build from. It will work throughout the night, arranging thoughts, impressions, and even external circumstances to align with that image. This quiet process of mental construction is how great changes begin, not through sudden luck, but through steady, deliberate thinking repeated over time. A person cannot rise higher than the thoughts they consistently hold about themselves. If you see yourself as limited, your actions will unconsciously confirm that belief. If you see yourself as capable, creative, and resilient, your behavior will begin to reflect it naturally. The world responds not to what you wish for, but to what you believe yourself to be. Every belief acts as a magnet, drawing experiences that match its frequency. To change your life, you must first change your mental picture of it. You must think of yourself not as who you have been, but as who you are becoming. The transformation of thought is not a single moment, but a continuous process. It is the daily practice of replacing fear with understanding, replacing complaint with gratitude, replacing confusion with clarity. Over time, these small corrections compound just as small drops of water can shape stone. The mind grows into the pattern it repeats most often. The person who fills their thoughts with order and faith begins to see both reflected in the world around them. The one who gives their mind to doubt and frustration finds those same forces mirrored back in their experience. Thought creates its equal every time. This is why mental discipline is the highest form of self-mastery. To control one's thoughts is to control one's life. It requires patience, awareness, and persistence, but the reward is freedom, the freedom to rise above circumstance and choose one's direction deliberately. The person who learns this no longer fears difficulty, for they understand that every challenge carries within it the potential for growth. They no longer depend on chance, for they know that success is a creation of thought aligned with purpose. They move through life calmly, not because it is easy, but because they have learned that their greatest power lies within the quiet command of their own mind.